Good evening, Lynn. Good evening, Joyce. Amy, good evening. Hey, Evelyn, good evening to you as well. Connie, good evening. Amy, Lindsay, good evening. Hey, while we're waiting for this crowd to build up, do me a favor, guys. Let's get this out there. Got a very special guest tonight. Uh, Been friends with her for a better part of a year and a half now. Beautiful, beautiful person. Beautiful soul. Uh, God places people in our lives for a reason. And you know what? Uh, he did this woman as well for me. And I'm happy to bring her on my platform and we're going to talk a little bit about the ugly word called relapse, and it's personal for this, for Maria coming on here. So, I see you, Maria. So, do me a favor, guys. Let's get this crowd built up for her, and I'll bring her on here in a few seconds. I'm going to get this out myself and throw this into every group. Family member, friends, everybody you know out there might just be struggling tonight. You might need to hear a little message of hope, inspiration. And there's going to be a lot of love involved when it comes to me, okay? So let's get this out there. Good evening, everybody. I love you all very, 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 very much. So I'm going to get it out there, and then we're gonna hope to God that everything goes smoothly, because Facebook has been on one the last 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks. So let's just pray this goes well. All right, all right. All right, guys, let's get it out. I hope you guys got this thing shared across America in every group you belong to. And I see you, Maria. I'm going to bring you on here just in a few seconds, but I'm going to give some hellos to some people I might have missed. Harley, I love you, brother. Pastor Pat, I love you. Let's see, who did I miss? Hey, Debbie, good evening. Heather, good evening to you as well. Hey, Bri, what's going on, brother? Jamie Minnick, love you, Jamie. Hey, Cassie Caldwell, good evening. All right, guys, I don't even want to wait to bring this lady on. We're gonna get. It's so easy to talk to her when I bring her on here. You guys will see why. Good friends, love her to death, support her. And we're going to come on tonight, and we're going to talk about a word that people don't like to talk about. It's not part of recovery, but does it happen? Yes, it does. It absolutely does. It's unfortunate, but we're going to talk about relapse. Matt Griffin, what's going on, brother? I love you.
Hey, Drew.
Maria, how are you
Good
doing?
morning from Australia.
Australia, all the way on the other side of the world. What is it, 10 a.m. over there on Saturday?
Yes, it is exactly 10 a.m. I'm here in Brisbane. Have a little look. Look at my site.
Oh, gosh. It's so cold here in Indiana right now.
It's so it's so sunny here. Sorry, I shouldn't make people jealous.
No, it's okay. I'm happy for you. What is the weather like? How warm is it over there?
Oh, it's about 25, 26 degrees, but sunny.
That's
So
Wait a
it's
minute.
really good.
Let's not confuse everybody. That's Celsius.
That is Celsius.
See,
Yes, that's not
we're
Fahrenheit, so
Fahrenheit
it's
over
not
here.
freezing.
So I'm thinking, wait a minute.
We're
I'll
on
take my
metric.
40 degrees over that 25 any day. So, uh, no, but how are you tonight, Maria, or this morning?
I yeah, I'm doing well, I was so happy that I was able to reach out to you in the moments that I was going through my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a feeling sorry for myself. I came from Toowoomba and we already had a chat about my breakup. So it was I mean, you even watched that video where I was just crying so
Yeah,
helplessly, right? Going
I'm.
through that chrysalis moment because this guy that I broke up with, we were together for 2 years in that span, but he was actually the guy that I lost my virginity with, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so when we were young. So when I broke up with Monk, came to Toowoomba, decided to just scrap my life, you know, I re-met with him and reconnected with him. But unfortunately, he was going through his relapse, and he talked about that with you. He talked about that with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of me helping myself going through my grief, guess what? I went through and helped someone else through their recovery. It was a great thing to do. I loved what I was doing, but um, I didn't relapse then. But when I went through the breakup with him, now I've got a double whammy, haven't I?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going through the you know, I'm getting over the breakup with Monk, which was a pivotal part of my life because that's where I dropped once and for all. And now I'm going through the breakup of my first boyfriend, which are actually cycles that I needed to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally put down my arms and said, okay, I'm this solution to addiction. I mean, I've called you many times to tell you this is the lonely path, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through this. It feels like I'm alone. It feels like I'm the only one. I'm not drinking among all my set of friends, not doing drugs. Everyone else is having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get the recovery movement going on here. So when I moved from Toowoomba, a population of 150,000 people, here to the site that you saw before, Brisbane, where I live is the drug and alcohol capital of Brisbane. So I chose this so that I can be the light in this world. And and in my moments, I started to drink with the people that I'm supposed to be coaching and they're supposed to be my clients. So no excuse. But as soon as I started doing that, I reached out to you. I reached out to the people that I care about, and almost immediately, you know, I was able to get a personal trainer on board, started training again really strongly in my martial arts, started doing sauna, and realized, very humbling, this experience, isn't it, when we relapse. I'm
Oh,
not
a lot.
sure if there's many people that have relapsed. It sounds like a bad word. I heard what you said before. It sounds like a naughty word, but in this recovery piece, we cannot stigmatize relapses,
Not at all.
right?
Not at all.
We cannot, right? And we cannot be shame based in it, just as we were when we first, you know, decided to transform our lives. There should be no real emotion either or, but that does take time to cultivate, to go to your sponsor, to do all the things that you need to do. And that was a sobering moment for me. I woke up. Yes, I know my place in the world. And the relapse is simply, there's many things because of my past traumatic experience. That's why it happened to me. And I know very well what it was attached to, what original incidents it was attached to. I prayed, I meditated, I got healers, acupuncturists to work with me, and really kept putting myself first. And I really want to thank you for being reachable. And you know, you're true to your word. You say call me, and people call you, and you're there for us. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big follower, and yeah, I can't wait to really bring more people to your clean and sober That's What's Up group, because we're starting that on 11/11, our 8-week breakthrough incubator program.
You want to explain to? I mean, I'm gonna go back a little bit and just maybe give everybody a backstory of our history. Okay. Um,
Yes.
we've known each other for about a year and a half, I think. Is it about right?
Yeah, definitely.
I
2018
Yeah,
beginning.
beginning of 2018. Yeah. So I went on.
And we're near the end of
Oh no,
2019.
we're
My
almost in
God.
2020. I went on your show, Kill Your Addiction Show, which
Yes, you did.
is out of Australia. Where's it out of in Australia?
In Brisbane. At that time, it was Toowoomba and Shauna Becker's,
Mm-hmm.
because I was reaching out for people to be on the Kill Your Addiction show. And Shauna, and after that, many others said, Dru Hicks, you got to talk to Dru Hicks, you got to talk to Dru Hicks. And I did. I reached out to you and we organized for an interview.
And then, okay, I went on your show. Yeah, it went well. It was an amazing show. I remember it still to this day. It was. I had to stay up very, very late that night because the time difference is so crazy. But I remember that, but along the way we developed a friendship. Okay, and we've been in close contact, talking numerous times since then. Okay, and I remember you weathering this storm. Now, can you for the audience, because a lot of people who do follow me are in early recovery, when I mean 2 years and under. Okay. And you want to elaborate a little bit. How long were you had been clean and sober before your relapse?
Yeah, sure. So February 14, Love Day, was my love day to myself in 2013. That's when I dropped the big addictions, which is alcohol and meth and illicits. But I was still smoking cigarettes because I just couldn't drop it all.
Mm-hmm.
And now and again, I would still take my medication that my doctors swore to me, black and blue, that if I stopped my quetiapine, which is Abilify, and my Epilim, that I would surely, for the 11th time, go back into psychiatric institution, because kind of we're similar, but instead of penitentiary, I was in and out in 4 countries of full-on psychiatric hospitalization. You know, when they tie you to the bed
Right.
and they do A Beautiful Minds, Russell Crowe, and
Yeah.
like 3 times of those ECGs are not ECTs, electroconvulsive therapy, which is really shocking my brain cells into, because it was so psychotic, it was so bipolar, it was so drug induced that, that was the only way in those times of my life, at 23, at 26, at many points. Like I said, 10 times. I'm 43 now. So
I know about being in the 40s, so we're good.
yes, we've got a lot of life experience. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so in and out, and then finally went through a really deep and traumatic story where I thought, that's it. I'm no longer going to be in and out of the drug gang, the drug scene. And, I went from Vegas, real heavy, top of the line, Vegas, Philippines, America, Salem, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and then I made my way through Asia, where I was always with the Yakuza or the Triad or the 5T or all the gangs, because they'll look at this and they'll go, "Ooh, there's a whatever
Mm-hmm.
mama that's going to take care of the girls, that's going to take care of the pipeline, get the drugs in and out of the strip clubs or the hostess clubs or in the nightclubs, in the DJs, all that type of thing." I always was the woman beside the big man,
Mm-hmm.
and doing all that bullshit. So no good. But I think when you're in and out of psychiatric, doing, like, I don't know if you've watched Girl Interrupted, have you?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's very much that type of strong alpha energy that's just going off. And I met a monk, and he said, you're not welcome in this place with the 25 demons you got walking through the door. You've got to let all that go, and then I'll teach you. You'll meditate. And then, a week later, my head was shaved, and I was ready to do what it needs to happen, or do what I need to do to finally listen to someone, because he had a very strong energy about him. And there was something about him that I couldn't move. And like he said, no, you're getting rid of all your demons, getting rid of all your flesh stuff. And the way for you to do that is to write your story, because you've got so many blackmailers, you've got so many gangs and people that you ruminated with at the top level. The only way you're going to really come clean with yourself is if you authentically, from the heart, describe to yourself the ins and outs of your life. And perhaps there's a book there, perhaps there's something there, but don't do it for anyone, do it for you. Do it as a cathartic mechanism to account, like the steps. I accounted who I've wronged through that book and what I've realized, and that was the best experience. And in so doing, God has blessed me with it by having it become an international bestseller, because it obviously touched the hearts of many, because I wasn't the only one going through that.
Speaking of your book, which I own it, it's somewhere over here somewhere. I was going to show it, but I don't want to get away from the camera. But you want to let everybody know how they can purchase it.
Yeah, sure. So here we go. Kill your addiction before it kills you. I know it's inverted. Sorry, guys. How I transformed my life of addictions, bipolar, and suicide. You can get it on the coachingwithsubstance.org.au webpage. I run a not-for-profit here in Australia for the last 9 years. yeah, we've won multiple awards. I'm finishing my doctorate in the subject of addiction recovery coaching. I'm submitting next week.
There you go. And
Woo!
you've been working hard for that. I'm so proud of you. You're almost
I
there.
have been working so hard. So hopefully when it goes to submission, the two examiners will come backwards and forwards with me just to make sure I wrote it. I'm tight. I know what I'm talking about. And then after that, I wear the name Dr. Empower.
All right. And then for the people who probably didn't hear that, when after the video, I want you to send me the link to how to purchase the book. And then
Sure.
and I will post it on my page, guys. I will post it in this feed and on the page, guys, after the video, so you guys can go out. You guys want to go out and get it. You want to go out and get it. I read it in 2 days. So it was amazing. I love it. You know, this is where I want everybody to understand, here you are, successful, educated, published author, and then you find yourself back in a relapse. Okay, this is why I always come on here, Maria, and I'm always telling people how cunning and baffling this disease that we have, how powerful this is. Just because you found yourself, I'm not going to justify your relapse, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that this relationship, and unfortunately, relationships are a lot of the reason why people do relapse. Okay, you found yourself more focused on someone else's recovery other than your own.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. And even if I didn't relapse there because I was holding the space for him, I was actually putting my own recovery back so that when he did go and when I did say goodbye to that relationship, I was less off than well off in my own recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it was like, a pull. It was like a rubber band that was like, and instead of handling myself then, I forgot myself, gave myself in service to someone instead of my own prioritized recovery. And then 2 years of giving myself to someone, shouldn't have, but anyway, that happened. And then by the time I faced myself, I had more things to deal with than less things to deal with. And the pull to soothe, the pull to make myself feel better, the pull to, that same thing that, lucky I didn't even touch back. Oh my God. I was like, but I justified to myself, it's only alcohol. Everyone's doing it. It's legal. Just a little sip. And, no one knows me. One little sip and I've got like 85 bottles like on the ground. Like,
and I honestly believe that as soon as you did it, I think you called me while you were drunk.
Perhaps.
I think you did. And but you called me the next day. When you were sober, and then we started talking about what had happened and stuff.
Yeah.
So how you find a lot of people who do relapse, Maria, a lot of people who stay stuck out of guilt and shame, correct? People want to stay.
Yes. Sorry, I just want to say I love you to Deanne as well. Love you, babe. Oh, well, maybe she's saying it to you. Oh no, to Liz. Sorry, forget about me. I'm saying it to someone else. So what was the question? See how the mind diverts?
Yes, the mind does. I got a squirrel brain too, but I'm going to say that a lot of people.
No, but he doesn't want to answer the question about the relapse. So it looks for something else to like, oh, hang on.
No, but my point in that was that people stay stuck out there after a relapse for a long time. That's why we say relapses are extremely dangerous, because we stay stuck with the guilt and the shame of it. We don't want to bring it to light. We don't want people to say it's embarrassing. We don't want to add a fear of being judged because of what we have done up to that point.
Yes. And the fear and the embarrassment was so great that it stopped me from recognizing it from the first point on, like what I would do perhaps with my clients. But the thing about me is, and it's no excuse, but I was authentic with my clients. I presented to them and I said, first up, you can choose to still go with this coaching session or not, but this is what I've done and I'm doing my mechanisms. But this is not about I'm seeking the help. I can still coach you, but I just want to tell you that's what's happened to me. Mm-hmm. You can choose to say, nope, you know what, give it a break, but they still know the value, because it doesn't, like the stigma, it doesn't take away who we are. Mm-mm. It doesn't take away anything about our humanity, about our being a human, a person in this world just trying to make things work for us, right?
Right.
And it doesn't take away my expertise, what I've studied in my master's coursework and my doctorate. Doesn't take any of that away. I just had a moment And as long as I'm authentic about that moment, as long as I'm doing something about that moment, it took a bit of time. It took a couple of weeks to get my shit sorted, mind you.
Hmm.
But in the scheme of things, Drew, I think a couple of weeks is way better than what the 30 years that I've spent
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
denial about it. Right? So
And that's the
just
thing,
giving myself a little pat on the back.
a lot of people fail to realize also, Maria, during when a relapse doesn't do as well is it doesn't take anything away from you that you've learned in recovery up to that point. Okay? Just because you've went and relapsed doesn't mean you're like the newcomer day one in recovery. You still remember the tools and all the stuff that got you to the point you had gotten to. Okay? So it's not like your brain goes like you've been active addiction for 20 years and you're all back into that mindset, that mentality. You still have the mentality that you had before you picked up that drink. Okay. But what I
Definitely.
love the most about what you did, which a lot of people don't do, is that you reached out quickly.
Yes. Yes. That was my second weekend, and then it took one drink, and it was like the addictive mind, one drink. I'm like, no, one drink. And I look back 2 days later, it was a Friday night and it was a Saturday, it was Sunday morning now. And I looked at all the bottles and I went, oh my God. And everyone was already on drugs and talking about that. I wasn't going to fall into that. I know myself that when I go there, I'm straight to the psych ward that next week,
Right,
right?
right,
Because
right.
I will take that meth and I will like just keep one toke after the other and not stop and be in people's places. There's 1,000 units in here in 3 towers. And everyone is using, you
Mm-hmm.
see. So like I said, this is the place that everyone uses. And I put myself here not to use, but to be a pilot. And what guilt and shame I felt, how embarrassing. I felt like so shamed in myself that the more embarrassed and shamed I felt, the more I wanted to drink and smoke and almost want to go to the bad stuff. But that, like you said, so there's the addiction talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's your recovery going, oh,
Right.
what you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know this, just stop now, walk away, turn around, go to sleep, go and do something. But, I haven't used and I haven't had fun in my head. I've been studying to become a doctor, la, la,
You're
la, oh,
justifying.
excuse. Da, 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 da. Oh, monkey mind, yeah,
Yeah.
having a party.
Right.
And no, no good. So reach out. So I didn't reach out in the first weekend. I did it again the next weekend. And at the end of that, I'm like, all right, nah. And it wasn't even the first weekend and the next weekend. Almost like every couple of nights, I'll like, oh yeah, well, I'm doing this. Let me just have a wine. And there's 14 strip clubs around me.
Yeah.
There's every wine bottle. And then the middle of the mall, I don't know if you've watched one of my things where I was in the middle of the mall, everyone's drunk and on drugs.
Right.
So I really chose my place, didn't I? But in those moments, I realized why everyone else was doing it. And I realized how easy it is to relapse. And I realized that I'm so much better off as a person to just turn myself around from this. And actually, now that I'm clean, I can now go back and say, hey, you know what? I get it. I was my first weekend here. I resisted the urge for 3 weeks. And then I was right there where you were after all these years of being sober. So now that I look for the positive because I must, I actually found goodness within it of something that I will take instead of letting myself fall and be anchored down by the negativity of it.
Right. That's exactly that's the most important thing that you did. You took something from this positively, but you got to also, let me ask you this also, Marie. Did at any time leading up to the relapse, did you get red flags?
Oh, it was one after the other. As soon as I landed here and I looked the first weekend, I'm going, oh shit. I know that this was it, but it's been so long since I've been in that scene. I've been sheltered in ensconced in my monk haven, and then, in Toowoomba, 150,000 people, really sheltered from the party scene, that I haven't been around it. And I'm like, I don't think I'll have the wherewithal. I don't think my recovery is strong enough because, I just broke up with George in December and that was July. It's only been 7 months. you know, and I feel like that breakup was also a relapse into codependence,
There you go.
which was my thing, right?
That's a whole
Right.
nother
So
addiction in itself right there.
exactly. So I'm just really in early recovery because I was in that for 2 years that no, I wasn't using, no, I wasn't doing anything he's doing. But the fact that I was an accessory or a codependent, and I was stopping him, but it doesn't matter. I was still around it, which means I was in that behavioral addiction patterning.
Right.
And I realized that that was the first red flag. And I remember you being interviewed by him or you talking to us, and you were even saying to him, buddy, you know, you don't do it for Maria.
Right.
You don't do this to, you know, for someone else.
Mhm.
But he was doing it so that he can keep me because he knew I wasn't going to stay around. And he did stop. That's the thing. He did stop after 1 year. But you and I know in early recovery, just because you stop, that doesn't stop all the bits right behind it.
Not at all.
So he might have stopped the act, but the mind and the trauma and everything else, I was holding the space for him to be able to realize quite a lot of things. And yeah, and that took a lot on my recovery because I was in active addiction via codependence. And I also had a grief, big breakup that I haven't quite managed to, you know, uh, go through and reconcile of what happened there. So yeah, so there's a lot of traumas and red flags, as you put it, because I didn't put myself first.
But then again, you still push through those and you still pick
We
up.
have to, yeah, and I think that's what I've learned, like you said, the things that we learn when we do this recovery strongly. Because I did, and I do have a good, strong recovery prior to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was the breakup with Monk that really, because he cheated on me, you see. So it wasn't just a breakup. It was like I went somewhere to the Philippines, actually. I came back and he was with someone else because he did say, if you're going to go, you know, if you go back to your country, I don't know, you know, you know, it's bad that I do that. And I'm like, hang on, that's not bad that I do something when I need to do something. So I went thinking, no, it's going to be all good. He's a monk. He can control himself. And I got there and he was already with someone. So I'm like, that's in a span of 3 weeks. So when I, you know,
That
yeah,
was
so it
that was
was,
a hard one to swallow then, right?
that was coming from someone that called themselves a Taoist master. And so, you know, so it was such a betrayal. It was such a different action and saying that I was just like flabbergasted. But I didn't want to say for it. I just took all my stuff and I just went back to Toowoomba, back to my mom. She was going through breast cancer anyway. And I thought, well, you know what? If I'm going to see something, then at least I get to spend time with her. I'm finishing my doctorate at USQ, which is around the corner from her. So maybe it all works out. But boy, it wasn't like that back then. I was like, just.
Oh, you were a hot mess. You were a hot mess.
Oh, that wasn't even it. That was with
Oh,
George.
okay, that was
That
George.
one with Mom because he betrayed me and all of that. That was like, because really, prior to that event, I really thought that was my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was nothing that says that wasn't the path that I'm going to walk for the rest of my life. But now that I look back, I think you can see, oh, it's a little bit different what I looked at, but I'm different now, right? Like
Oh
a
my gosh! I
metamorphosis.
mean, I was looking at you. You're so much different. You know, in your personality, your sense, the way you're talking, and the smile on your face says it all today. It's day and night, actually.
Yes, and that's because I was ensconced in active addiction, and what it was with my last relationship was codependence. And what it was before that was dropping all the chemical addictions that elicits the medication, the alcohol, you know, all of that, and then the last one, which is the toxic men, which was a really big part of my life.
That's for me. In my active addiction, women were a really big part of my life, and that's a whole nother story in itself because that's another addiction. Okay, and and if we're not careful, we'll bring that into our recovery. Okay, and
Because it's easy, you can't notice it. It's a human being. How can you? And then there's almost maybe not for the ones in strong recovery, but maybe it doesn't matter. But there is a thing about it that when you're with another human being, you've got to safeguard what they do behind closed doors on a personal level.
Hmm.
Even if we're so personal with our crowd and doing lives like this, it doesn't matter. There's still a certain type of cloak that you wrap around the relationship, even if it's casual,
Hmm.
because it's not something you share with everyone and with people, right?
Right.
So it is a very slippery slope. But
Hmm.
it's the same with anything. It's the same with anything, but I think more so for an animate human being than an inanimate object, which is the drugs,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's easier to
So
depersonalize.
so how have you been able to now, with the issues with codependency, and how you're now able to sustain your recovery today after going through that?
Body, body stuff, I think. Um, could be there's a lot of like sexual chakra centers, meridians that I need to heal. So I get a lot of healing, acupuncture work. Um, I see a lot of coaches or people in church or other places, people that are spiritually inclined that I don't have any relationship with. Because with monk, I got my spiritual knowledge and wellness through a relationship. So I wasn't able to really I don't think it was what it should be.
Right.
Now that I know what me and Monk went through, and now that I know him as a person, being with him for 4.5 years, and no disrespect to anyone, we're all going through this climb, aren't we? And we all have our human um, characteristics and traits. And he also went through a lot of trauma, where he witnessed at 9 years old in Broadmeadows, a very bad place in Melbourne, in here in Australia. At 9 years old, he witnessed someone got shot right in front of him.
Right.
So, that and many other things, but that's the most crippling one that I've heard from his story. That I think, you know, these things at an undeveloped mind stage at 9 years old, being a male, it really does play with your yeah, yourself, but no excuse, right?
No.
Because we all have to grow up and we all have to find mechanisms. And for me, like your original question was, what did I do? I doubled down on my yoga, my sauna. Sauna is the way that I would expend the 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 the, the trauma because it's lodged in my body. So sauna, I'll just be a mess. So I can almost feel it's those moments from my past just leaving my body through sweat. And then, there's a lot of cathartic moments where I would journal and just cry and talk to God or the divine or whatever I call it, the source, God, divine. Yeah.
Well, for anybody who doesn't know about Maria, I know her because I've known her for a while now, is that she is probably one of the most spiritual women I have ever met in my entire life. I mean, you go through a rigorous spirituality. I mean, with the yoga, and then, like you said, you just said another spiritual word, chakra. You said, you do a lot of the spiritual. Can you, maybe a little explain to my to the other female, because I got a lot of female followers. Explain to them maybe what it is and how that's been, how you've used that to be the woman you are today. With and the glow. I mean, that's why you have this glow about you.
Yes, because I was never like this with Monk, never like this with George. I never put myself at the top. Now, so for me, spirituality is a belief in a being higher than myself, bigger than myself, because this is just a skin bag. This is just my temple, my car that I use to go through the world to do the good work, which is what spirituality is that implementation, is the actioning of our essence, of our values, of our purpose. And what spirituality requires is you actually talk to your soul through praying to a God that you know and love. And I mean that verb love by loving yourself first and foremost and loving everyone around you. So you keep that depth, that profound connection with people around you. And for me, the way I translate that is through martial arts, because martial arts is a very spiritual endeavor, because it requires going into your body and and looking at all the miraculous ways that you can make the body move so that you are in control of your body. That's one thing. So I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I do Jeet Kune Do, I do Muay Thai, I do boxing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I do yoga because that's a specific union with the mind, body, soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so is martial arts. So it's all the components. And then as well, I really think of my body like the altar of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I pay homage and I consider it sacred, what I do with my body and what I partake by food, by water, by sexual exchanges, by conversations of what I say and what I allow people to say to me. So really, at the foundation of my existence is my spiritual purpose that I've found, which is being the solution to addiction and using my experience to inspire people to that no matter what they've been through, they can really change their life around. So those are some of the spiritual things I do. And the other thing, if I may, is that all
Go
right?
ahead.
I feel like I'm talking so much, but this
No,
is
no,
what
no.
it
This
is.
is your time. Go ahead. I talk all the time,
Um,
so you go right ahead.
but the very interesting thing, Drew, is the healing that I do with people. So in the last year specifically, I lay hands and use, you know, how we see it in church when the anointing oil, well, that when you invite God, the divine, the light through you, our body, depending on how pure and how our daily practice is, we can actually be a vessel that can be the healing capacity that activates someone else's healing capacity.
Right.
Because healing somehow, especially in active addiction, sometimes it can't get activated on its own. It needs a catalyst, it needs a God spark to do that. So I provide healing called quantum healing, and quantum simply means unseen, and it requires nothing except the will of the light within you to be able to, and I can see it, I can feel it, it's palpable, it's tangible. And the people that have seen me in the last year can attest that even in a group of 10 people, people are writhing in the ground and exposing and purging the toxins. So it's like a psychic surgery. And I just go in there with my mind, with my hands, and with the will of the light, and just take out all of it's like a vacuum. I don't know how to explain it. There's no words
Right.
because it's unseen and it's wordless.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love it. I mean, I dig it. I dig it. You know, it's amazing. You know, and
Well,
just
that's why I'm inviting you to come to
I
Australia.
am. I got to
So
get over there,
that,
right? I'm coming over there. I didn't know whether I was going to the Philippines or Australia because we talked about it. Remember?
I well, because I am based in both places. I am dual citizen, and you know I've got my retreats, which I've talked to you about, and that's getting activated for sure next year.
You were
And
getting
yeah,
ready to
11,
try
11.
to start something in the Philippines, correct?
Yes,
Uh,
yes. So it's just a matter of it started, all the negotiations are done, but I just don't want to begin the launch until I'm Dr. Empower, just because it's got a
and
bit
that's
more.
coming here. That's knocking at the door, though, ain't it?
Oh, it's like I said, it's almost done next week.
Next
So
week.
what happened yeah, on the last 2 weeks, 8 till 5, Monday to Friday, I've been just writing and finishing everything, tightening everything up. And I've submitted that to my two supervisors. And just on Monday, the week before, just, you know, because we're on Saturday now, Monday, my first supervisor gave me all of the feedback, which means I do all of that. And he's given me the clearance. And then the other supervisor is coming with the feedback, although he's been giving me the verbal feedback because I've been at his office at the university. So between the two of them, there is no feedback that I don't understand or can't change. And it's nothing even major. It's just little tightening, like, you know, we want it to pop. You know, we want the logic, the rigor, the academic piece to really stand out and stand up on its own accord. So once I do all the iterations, it's done. So I just tick off the 142 things left.
Right. So what's the future look like for Maria?
Future is so bright. I gotta wear shades. I'm almost looking for shades now. It really is because, I see what you do
Thank
in
you.
the US.
Thank you.
In your, should I say little town? Because it is a fairly small town where
Where
you
I
are.
live, my hometown, there's about 14,000 people. It's small.
And in that town, you're able to have 70,000 people in this group right now. You're able to really like what you've done to me and countless thousands and thousands of others, So this is the path I want to walk. That's why I'm so glad and I'm so honored that I'm able to reach out to you and you give me time of day to have a conversation and to just say, hey, you know what you're doing, I want to do, I don't know how to do it. And you're always there to be able to kind of feedback that too. And I know that you will continue to do that. That's your strength. That's one of your superpowers. So yes, thank you. And yes, the year looks good. Once I become a doctor, we're going to be doing 8-week breakthrough recovery incubator programs. So we've got our first one starting on the 11th of the 11th, which is an awakening code sign. So 11/11, we bring however many goes through, and then we have retreats after that. And then it's just going to be like that from next year onwards.
That sounds amazing. And you know what? You're gonna have to put me in on the calendar. I'm gonna come over there and speak to your people. You know that we've already talked
You
about that.
will.
I will.
Of course, you have to. You're like one of the main people because we actually promote you in the C component of the recovery 8-week incubator because it's RECOVERY. And part of the C is courage, connectivity, communication, and connection. So I post our interview in there and I give them a link of the Clean and Sober, That's What's Up, and also Keith Campbell's Sober and Serious. So they've
Right.
got two choices and if they can join both of. However, so that they can be supported by you and the amazing tribe that you have. All of them are here now, just wanting to get a word in, and we're just talking. Dru is an angel in disguise. He sure is, Debbie. He really is.
Thank you.
So,
You know, I was where I'm at when it comes with with you is that I was just blessed to be here when you called. I mean, I look forward to those calls, especially, I've known you for a while, and I know that you've rose yourself to an elevation in life. It just reminds me of how cunning, baffling this disease that I have really, truly is, that it can happen to anybody. Codependency involved, whether there's no codependency involved, it can happen to whether you got 7 years, 10 years, 50, 20 years. It will creep back into your life before you know it, before you realize it. You're going to find yourself at a bar stool, or you're going to find yourself in a bathroom somewhere shooting a shot of dope in your neck somewhere. This is how it happens because we avoid red flags, because we justify things in our heads. I ain't been out in forever. That's what you told yourself.
yeah,
I haven't.
that.
I haven't.
I've worked so hard, I can party.
Right, and
Yeah.
you can't. You can't.
No.
We.
Not with substances. I can party, I can still dance,
Yeah.
I can connect with my friends. If I want to go clubbing, maybe not the best place because it's going to be full of people, places, and things. But if I choose to, I better be on point with my sponsors. I better have everyone checking in on me in and out of that, or I better bring a sober companion. Something, anything. Get yourself accountable. Go and check in with people. Make sure that you are with people that have your interest at heart, that knows that you don't want to drink, and that's going to go in there with you if you choose to go to those places. I would recommend not if you're in early recovery, because why would you want to be in the stomping ground of the devils when
Right.
you're trying to when you're not strong enough? I mean, I'm doing some amazing work with my body, with martial art, with my things, and even I didn't have the wherewithal to when there's 1,000 people out there drinking, one person cannot go out there and think
Not at all.
for 1
Man,
second.
if you're swimming around with sharks, eventually you're gonna get bit. Okay?
Yes,
I mean,
that's
that's just that's a no-brainer. I mean, you can't expect to deliberately put yourself in harm's way and not get run over.
now that you said that, I feel sick.
Oh.
But but it's just it's my samurai spirit, it's my right hand of the Yakuza spirit, that dragon lion that I am, because I'm dragon in the Chinese astrology and I'm Leo in the Western astrology. So you can see two of the the
Right,
it's like
right,
I can, you know, I'm Joan of Arc. Let's fight this. I'm at the front and I'm
right,
gonna clean you up. And guess what? I'm the one that picked up the bottle 3 weeks later. Yeah, good one,
right.
Maria.
Good one.
Good one.
But you
Yeah.
know what? You bounced back quickly. You called me. We figured some stuff out. You got yourself back on track. And
Yes. And you had other friends that
yes,
called me as well
yes,
and supported me. Yes.
yes. So you're moving forward. You got a lot of amazing things coming. And I am. We're gonna put me in the calendar sometime next year where I'm gonna come over there. I'm gonna speak to your people. I look forward to it. Um,
Yes, you're gonna love it. It is such an isolated place in the middle of nowhere where there's trees and paddies and rice farms, and it is just in the north of the Philippines
sounds
where
nothing
there's
like the
no
United States.
yeah, probably, yeah. The population there is only a couple of 100,000 people, and it's not a commercial place. There's no other place where the south, where all of the beautiful beaches of the Philippines is very commercialized. Palawan, Boracay, it's top 10 beaches. So, people are drinking and drugging, whereas this place is just peace. And it looks exactly like Santorini. So, you get this. Oh, it's so beautiful. I could live there.
Well, I look forward to it. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking to people because there is a huge stigma when it comes to relapse, as we talked about before we came on, and we need to learn how to uh, eliminate that as much as we possibly can. There's always gonna I have a believing there's always gonna be a stigma to some fashion, but we can eliminate that on our end. We can eliminate that, okay? Because
Yes.
you'll find it the stigma. A lot of people who carry the stigma with them are people who are in recovery their damn selves, okay?
Or
Unfortunately,
in an active
or
addiction
in active addiction,
themselves.
right?
That's why they have the stigma because they're there, or in codependence or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they've got the emotional pull about it because they're emotionally attached
Right.
to the pain of it all still.
That's
And
why
I
they.
learned from you because I've seen you with your moments when you're admitted, if you can do it, I can do it. And I've seen other people, the ones that do admit, the ones that are authentic, the ones that say it as it is, as it happens, giving a bit of distance and moments. It's been 3 weeks now. So, I wasn't ready to do it when I know I don't have back my recovery times.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure I've stabilized that. And then like, yep, Dru, I'm ready to come on. Let's talk about my relapse.
Amen to that. And that's why we're doing this tonight, And before I let you go, I'm reminding you to send me the link to your book. I'm sure there's a lot of people in this feed who would like to purchase that. If you haven't, you better. You need to read it. It's amazing. And I love you.
Yes, that is so felt and received. And I thank you, Brother Dru, for this because,
Mm-hmm.
you're one of the people that really helped me through this. So I thank you for that. And I wish we can like shout out to everyone that's watching because they've got, like Amy said, it's a very intense feeling having the Holy Spirit. Is crystal healing a part of your repertoire? Oh, funny you said that, Deanne. I don't know if you're there, but can you see?
There you
This is
go.
just a part of my.
Look at
Is
the,
crystal healing part of it?
looks like it to
Wow.
me.
And I've got so much more. Hang on, I just gotta show her this. That is called a dodecahedron shungite.
What is that?
2 billion years old. It's the shape of sacred geometry, dodecahedron, and
How
it
old is
has
it?
its 2 billion years old is shungite. So shungite is a 2 billion-year-old crystal. Obviously, not every single one would be 2 billion, but for the most part, it's only available in Russia. So I know the person that makes this, and if you have any inkling of feeling energies, just being around this, you get like this, like,
Really?
it's,
Oh,
yeah,
wow. How amazing
yeah,
is that? That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. But
So I bring all of this with me in Vitalis. So we get to play around with energies and divine essences and gods and source. It's not demonic or any of that. I don't know if some churches see that as some. What's your views on that before we go,
what's my views
Dru?
on what?
like crystals and because some churches say, oh yeah, it's demonic, you're
I'm gonna
conjuring
tell you right
things
now,
and
this
you
is where
come.
I'm at with this. I have a higher power I choose to call God. That's Drew, okay? But where I stand with is the three principles that I stand on is being honest, open-minded, and willing, right? And so I keep myself open-minded. If it works for you, I'm a supporter of it. I'm gonna support it for you. I've never experienced or even been part of anything to do with the crystals, but I've heard of it. I'm not totally ignorant to it, but if it works, right?
And that's what diversity is we respect and give homage to what other people's beliefs are because we don't own that. That's their path. And we leave them and love them. We leave them to do what they want and we love them anyway, right? And
I
that's what
tell
we
people
need
all
more.
the time, I'm gonna love you where you're at. I'm gonna love you right where you're at. Okay, and that's exactly right. You hit the nail right on the head there. Maria, like I said, I love you. Thank you for coming on here and talking to me and my family. Um, I'm sure you're probably going to get a lot of friend requests after this video. So as you should, because you're a beautiful soul. You're doing some really good things over there. I look forward to the day I finally get to meet you face to face, and it will be coming next year.
Yes, I think we must organize that. And I say thank you to you. You've been an inspiration. I've been watching a lot of your lives, and it was part of my daily gig to get myself recovered in the last 3 weeks. So thank you for everything that you put out there, Drew, too.
You don't need to thank me. You thank me by having a beautiful life. That's all you got to do. That's it. I love you, and I'll be in touch soon. Thank you for coming on here, and I appreciate you spending your morning with me and my family. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Yes, you too. Bye, everyone.
All right, man. If you guys don't think that she's a beautiful soul, I don't know what to tell you, man. I've been talking with her and been part of her life for like the last, like I said, year and a half, 2 years. She's doing some great things. As educated and this is where I want you guys to understand how cunning and sneaky and baffling and powerful this disease that we face each and every day that we wake up, and how a person with long-term sobriety such as her, she had 7 years, I think, can find themselves in a situation that before you know it, she's tipping the bottle up, right? Certified. I mean, this woman's almost got her doctorate. She's a published author, been in recovery 7 years. This thing we fight is powerful. If you are not vigilant in your recovery, if you are not doing what you have to do each and every day, not getting complacent, not thinking that you don't need that meeting, not thinking, I don't need to call my sponsor today. You're going to find yourself in a situation. And let me tell you something about Maria. Very powerful and strong woman. Found herself shit-faced drunk for 3 days straight, 2 weekends in a row. And you didn't even know how it happened. It's just that easy. That's why we stay in the meetings. That's why we stay in constant contact with the fellowship. We stay in touch with our sponsors. We do the things that we have to do each and every day, that we wake up, we have a routine, and we don't steer from the path. We steer from the path. And you're going to find yourself in a situation such as Maria. You're going to find yourself in a very dark place. And the thing that scares me most about the people who have relapsed and still live through it is the guilt and the shame that comes with it. And they end up keeping themselves stuck out there for years and years on end. I just talked to a lady today who said that she's just now coming off of a 9-year relapse. 9 years. Keeping yourself out there longer gives you that much more of a chance of not ever making it back and having your family bury you in the ground. I come on here and I do what I do, and I've established relationships with people all around the world, such as Maria in Australia. You know, I do this for the simple reason is that I want to see you live a good life. I want you to see that you deserve to live a good life. I can provide you with all the tools and knowledge that you need to live a good life, but if you are not applying them in your life each and every day, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I love you all very much. Because and this is not, and in no way, shape, or form do I mean this in any rude way, or it's just me being real. I can give you this knowledge, these tools. I can come on here every night and talk, and I speak from the heart every time I come on here. I'm very genuine and transparent. But after I click off this finish button, I'm going to do what I have to do every day for my own personal recovery. I know I'm good. I have a God who is, and only am I here because I was saved by his grace. I keep him at the forefront of my life. Keep him there. I have a very intimate relationship with God today. I got an amazing sponsor, solid 30 years, three decades of consistent recovery. I got an amazing man that I get to call Pastor Pat. I have people. I know what it takes to live a life of recovery successful because I was taught it, and I absorbed it, and I apply it each and every day of my life. And I will do this for the remainder of my life because you know what? At the end of the day, yeah, sure. Many times I've thought about, nobody's gonna know what's one fix, one blast, just to forget about that problem because that hurts. I don't want to feel it. I want to mask it. That's what my addict brain tells me. You don't need to feel that. Remember, Drew, I got the answer for you. Come back over here. I ain't falling for that trap anymore. I fell for that trap once before and I stayed stuck in that misery for 25 years. And I am blessed that I'm still alive today to come on here and do what it is that I do. Recovery has never been promised to be easy for anyone, but it's the reward. It's the feeling that it gives me in my heart, the feeling that it gives me, the feeling that it gives my own mother, the way she looks at me today. I can look at her and she looks at me, and the way she looks at me is just day and night. It's more of it's that peaceful, like my baby's good. He's gonna live tonight. I'm not gonna get a phone call. He's okay. And I was able to give that to her. And I was able to give that to my father before he passed away. I want nothing more than for you guys to have this life for yourself. If you find yourself out there tonight wondering, man, how did he get there? What did he do? I am so overwhelmed. I'm just so broke. I'm beat down. I'm whooped. I don't know how to do this. I can't do this anymore. Please message me right here through this page. I'll jump down in that pit with you. You know why? You know why I would jump down in that pit with you? Is because I know a way out. I do. Pick up the phone. Message me. You could call me or you can text me. My number's been blasted to this feed by Tori probably 3 or 4 times already. Whatever it is you feel comfortable doing, please. Your life today has so much value. I know you don't see it. I didn't either. But like me, somebody once told me, it's there, Drew. Just let me show it to you. Okay, show me. And so I did. And the rest, they say, is history. Allow me to show it to you. I love you all very much. I appreciate you guys for being on here tonight. Let me know down there in the comment section what you felt about the video. Please get it out there. Obviously, Facebook still being Facebook on Facebook terms. It's just not notifying people. So hopefully the crowds start building back up. But you know what? We can't control what Facebook's going to do. Maria, if you're still watching, I love you very much. And I will be in touch with you soon. Thank you for coming on tonight, Maria. I think she's amazing. And I think you guys, if you haven't bought her book, I'll post her book in the feed, and I will also post it on my page. She is a brilliant, amazing, published author, and a lot of other things. She's got a lot of other certifications to go with her name, more than I can care to say right now, but I'll post the link. You guys need to go out and buy her book. I have her book sitting over there on the table. It's amazing. I read it in 2 days. You want to buy it. You really do. Relapse is not part of recovery, but does it happen? Absolutely. It does happen. But let's try to avoid these things in these tragic, unnecessary relapses. But this is what the scariest thing about relapse, guys, is that 85% of the people who go back out, who are in recovery, go back out, relapse. 85% of the overdose deaths in this country are those people, the people who were in recovery and went back out. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I think we've all gotten bad news enough about our friends and our families, who are overdosing and dying by the handfuls and thousands each and every year in this country alone. I love you all very much. Thank you for being here. Please share this out. Let me get some shout outs before I get out of here. I love you guys. Amy, thank you for being here. Evelyn, thank you for being here. Evelyn, I love you. I've been praying for your brother. Tori, I love your face. Jennifer Moore, thank you for being here as well. Catherine Lance, love you. Leela Winton, thank you for being here. Love you. I think, Leela, you're in Australia yourself, aren't you? Christy Johnson, thank you for being here as well, excuse me. Debbie, good night. Who else did I see? Marsha Morrison, you are very welcome, Marsha. Love you, good night. Jacqueline, thank you for being here as well. Let me see. Stephanie Turpin. Love the video. It was awesome tonight. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for being here as well. I think until we can get this Facebook thing figured out, guys, I'm gonna start going live on my Clean and Sober page, because this page seems to be not running the way that it used to. Until we can figure it out, I'll be going live on my other page, the Clean and Sober page, not group, Clean and Sober page, from now on, until we can figure this out. TT, thank you for watching as well. Love you. Martina, how do you say your name, Martina? I'm just going to say Martina because I don't want to butcher your last name. Cervantes? It's about that person. I just want his input on it. I'm not understanding what that means. If you have any questions or comments, please, you guys feel free to message me on this page. Brian, what's going on, brother? I love you, man. Thank you for being here. Samantha Watson, thank you for being here as well. Hey, Robin, thank you for being here. What does it say? Bless him, Jesus. Thank you, Dru Hicks. Love you so much. Love you as well, Robin. Isn't it amazing to actually get to see the benefits of what you do? It shows you that even through everyone can be saved. Amy Lindsay Grist. I'm not used to seeing that last name on there. Thank you for being here, and that was very special. Thank you for saying that. All right, guys. If I missed your name, it's not intentional, but I'm going to give you guys a chance to go out and enjoy some of your evening tonight. Again, Maria, thank you for being here. I'll be in touch with you soon. We'll figure out when you want me to come over there to Australia and speak to your people. I know you got a lot of stuff going on over there. It'll be an honor. It'll be a privilege to come over there and speak to the beautiful people of Australia. And who doesn't want to go to Australia, right? So I love you all very much. I'll be back tomorrow night, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think I'm going to start going live from the Clean and Sober That's What's Up page until we can figure out what's going on with these restrictions and why Facebook has got me on lockdown. But I love you guys. Please do me a favor, share it out. The world needs to hear what Maria had to say tonight. If you haven't figured it out already, she's a very brilliant and powerful woman. So I love you all. You already know, Clean and Sober. That's what's up.